In the past 2 years, I've generated over $60 million in email and SMS revenue. And in that time, the rules of email marketing have completely shifted. The playbook that works in 2024 will actively cost you money in 2026. Ad costs are at an all-time high. Inboxes are more crowded than ever, and customers have been trained to ignore almost everything brands send them. So as someone who spent hundreds of hours studying the landscape, sends millions of emails every single month, and sees what's actually working right now, I'm breaking down the 3 rules of email marketing you need to follow in 2026. And if your email and SMS aren't driving at least 25 to 40% of your total revenue, you need to watch this entire video. Now, let's start with rule number 1. And so before actually going into rule number 1, let's start by saying why the old playbook is dead in the first place. Because, there's a couple of points, obviously. The landscape has changed because of ad costs. They keep rising, they keep going up, and customer acquisition costs are going up together with them. So you can see here 13% year-over-year increase in 2025. Obviously, there's also the fact that customers are constantly being flooded by this sales promotion push communication. So there's emails here, 10% off pretty much every email from every brand they've ever touched. And just like the inbox looks like this. There's just restocked, hey friend, 35% off. There's just flash sale. There's completely just being pushed by promos from brands they don't really even care about. Now, inboxes are more competitive and consumers are more skeptical than ever. So there's more content going to them and they don't really buy it anymore in a way that they used to. They're kind of numb to the marketing communication. And so how do you play by the new rules? What needs to change for you to cross it in the new rules and then the new dynamic market? Strategy number 1, rule number 1 is to go from discount blast to a value first content calendar. So the old rules were just email when there's a sale or promotion and stay quiet on the other times outside that. So just don't spam too much, but push them when there's a promotion to offer. Every campaign used to be a discount core or some kind of urgency offer, like you need to buy right now, this is expiring in 24 hours, etc., etc. And then, you're training subscribers to wait for the deal before they buy. So you're conditioning them to always wait, okay, I know there's a new sale coming, so if I want to buy, I shouldn't buy right now, but I need to wait until the code is there. So you're just eroding your margins through that. And so what are the new rules? You need to play by these to actually be able to compete in the high ad costs and increasing ad costs, increasing customer acquisition costs and all of that kind of stuff. You need to go from discount blast to a value first newsletter. And here's what a calendar might look like with this new type of rules. So let's say Monday, you're sending this kind of value first, 6 months of GLP-1. There's month number 1, month number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's kind of like a timeline visually mapped out in the email so they know exactly what to expect of the treatment. It's like retention, value first type of emails. And then obviously you can send community building emails. Here's an example from Obvi. Obvi actually does this really well. They have a huge Facebook community, brand community, and they're obviously also tying their email communication a little bit into that. To be honest, they could do that even more, but here's just a quick example. Tied to a sale, of course, even in this case, but it says, be the first to shop this week's sale. Hey, beautiful, want to gain early access to this week's Black Friday sale? Join for us on our Facebook Live tonight at 6 p.m. ET. So it's kind of like tying the community, come to their Facebook group, hang out, and also get some kind of benefit out of it. So kind of building this engagement and feeling of community, sense of belonging. And then there's another one, you could send this one on Friday. This is from Hims. How to reduce food noise during the holidays. So this is again more like a value-driven, empowering email. And then at the same time, they're selling on the side. So it's this is for people who maybe haven't, bought into the treatment yet. They get value out of it to support their weight loss goals. But then there's also CTA to actually shop the treatment, get started, and then, become a customer. Now, you want to send a minimum of 3 to 4 campaigns a week across different kind of engagement content pillars. You can focus on treatment, product emails. You can do educational stuff. You can do social proof, engagement, win back, VIP campaigns, all this kind of stuff. Most of the big brands actually send daily emails or even more, as long as you just segment those well. But if you don't have the capacity to do that, sending at least 3 to 4 campaigns a week with these different pillars with variety of content, not just pushing promotions, is gonna be your best bet. Obviously, non-promotional emails build trust and keep the brand top of mind all month. So you need to have a lot of those, as we already spoke about. This type of emails that I just showed you as examples. And then when a sale actually drops, the audience is already warm and primed to convert because they've been, getting value out of you. They trust you more. They don't just see you as another kind of pushy sell brand. Then rule number 2. This is going from graphic-only emails to mixing in plain text. And the old rules here is pretty much just that every single email is a fully designed graphic template. Customers recognize the pattern instantly and tune it out. They basically just ignore it by default, subconsciously, because they've seen it so many times. They're just expecting another promo and they're tuning out. And there's no variety in format, which also means there's no variety in engagement or just a decreasing engagement because they're kind of getting bored out of this same pattern. And what is this new rule? It's kind of like a pattern interrupt, but also bleeding in with more personal angle as well at the same time, which is mixing in these text-based emails. And this strategy is still crushing it. I know you've probably heard it before, people talk about it, but it still works right now. People are using this and it's crushing it. In many cases, there's no design. You just use this plain text feature inside your ESP. So you can see see here, for example, hey, first name, it's coming from the founder. It's like writing like you're talking to a friend. So explaining whatever stuff from personal angle, building this casual kind of relationship with them. Obviously depends on your brand. If you're like a healthcare brand, you might want to be a little bit professional still, not super casual, but still being like more personalized, more casual in a way, and having it come from a specific person and signed by a specific person instead of like a marketing design template. And you want to include a CTA as well, but maybe make it a little bit more conversational, or just like a smoother CTA at the bottom. Not have like the whole email scream like bye, but just like talk about something, have like storytelling, and then at the end you can add like your CTA, or maybe you can like embed it somewhere here in the middle as well. That's something we sometimes do. But in general, these work super well. And this is what already I mentioned. You want to have these kind of pattern interrupt emails. Obviously, you don't want to go all in only plain text necessarily, but they're good because they're faster to make, and they bring this pattern interrupt from only the design templates, and they have their own places in like more personal content, more conversational content, gaining feedback from these people, having them respond to you. It's much more likely with this kind of plain text email instead of like only the designed emails. So for example, if you have an email like this, it's less likely to get responses to it compared to getting responses to an email like this. Now, rule number 3 is going from identical emails for everyone to data-driven personalization. And here you can see the old rules again. Pretty much everyone on the list keeps getting the same welcome flow, the same abandonment emails, the same campaigns and broadcasts. There's no difference between a first-time visitor versus a customer who's bought 5 times. They're just like being pushed to the same, full list newsletter all the time. And the segmentation just stops at unsubscribe. So the only thing you might be doing is like, to be honest, even this has issues sometimes for deliverability, but at least most brands have the fact that they identify people who have subscribed compared to those who haven't, and then they send different emails to those who are actually consented to receive emails, and then they suppress the ones who are not. But there's no extra communication. Pretty much every single brand I audit, there's no segmentation strategy behind it. And what is the new rule here? Data-driven personalization. And again, this strategy is crossing as well. So basically, you can collect zero-party data at the pop-up stage using micro-commitment psychology. So here's an example. You got 15% off. To claim your discount, share your number one health goal: nutrition, mental well-being, better sleep, exercise and fitness. And then depending on which one you press, you can populate an attribute inside your ESP for all of these segments. So then you have improved nutrition segment, mental well-being, better sleep, and exercise fitness segments. And then you can push them down all to their own 4 different flow paths there. And then everyone gets personalized communication based on their main goal, and they're much more likely to convert. And they also feel like they're being listened to instead of just like being one number across others that you're trying to sell to. And we can see here, this kind of multi-step pop-up actually increases opt-in rates, not decreases them. This is a super outlier example from one of our clients. The first step engagement was 60%. So basically 60% pressed one of these buttons here. And then it's not from this client, just to be clear, but basically 60% of people pressed the first step, and then still 42% of people pressed the second step where they actually give their email. And then there was still a third step, which was for SMS, and that was still 29%. So that's basically it. And then when you have that data of these people, then you can personalize all of the content that comes after to be specifically for them. So for example, here you can see Hims. They do this super well. They have the funnel really narrowed down to their specific segments, from the ad creative to the actual quiz funnel to the actual email funnel as well. So you can see if somebody is hair loss goal, they get these type of emails. If they have weight loss goal, they get these type of emails. ED people get this type of emails. And then low testosterone, for example, then they get this type of emails. So really segmented approach, and would work much better than just pushing hair loss people to this kind of email. So obviously you understand it. Then a note on this, just to be clear, don't over segment either. Keep it simple, scalable, and strategic. So depending on your resources, you might not have the capacity to go like 50 emails a month, 50 newsletters, like 2 emails every day or something. Depends on whether you're working it in-house or whether you're working with some specifying retention lifecycle partner like us. But if you're not, you might have issues with the resources on this side. So basically you don't want to over segment either, because if you think about this in this way, you might send like 5 broad emails per week, reach 250k people and convert 1%. You would be getting 2.5k buyers. But example 2, you send 10 hyper segmented emails per week, you reach a total of 50k people, so 5 times less, and then you increase your conversion rate, let's say a little bit based on that. Even if you doubled it, it would still be less, but let's say you increase it by 25%. Then your conversion rate is 1.25, and then in this example, you would do 2x more work, so you would send 2 times more emails, but you would reach 4x less buyers than in this one. So this is what I'm trying to say here. So the increase in conversion rates needs to offset the decrease in reach for it to be ROI positive. So just think about it like that. You don't only want to think about, can you have a higher conversion rate, but what is the actual total number of people you're able to convert. Now, that was the 3 rules that I have. The 3 rules you need to keep in mind in 2026 for email marketing. If you want to know the rules of SMS marketing as well, it's also changing in the same way. You can click the video on screen right now, or the video below here. You can see it as well to see the entire breakdown on the SMS side. And until then, I'll see you in the next one.